Well, you can smell it in the air. It's March, and in Saskatchewan, that doesn't mean springtime quite yet. What it means is playoff hockey. Good evening. I'm Sean Mullen along with David Zammit. It's time for U18 AAA female playoff hockey action between the Swift Current Innovation Credit Union Wildcats and the Battlefords Sharks. And David, while you look in the standings, you see the Wildcats 39 points ahead of the Sharks in the standings with 14 more wins. That makes it look like the matchup is maybe a little more lopsided than it is because they're going up against one of the top netminders in the entire league and probably in all of Western Canada, and Emma Backman, who's already slated for a role with the University of Saskatchewan next season, a .923 save percentage on a team that faces a lot of shots. And if a goaltender can ever steal games come playoff time, that's when you see it happen the most. And in a best of 5, that can swing things awful fast.
Yeah, you get behind 1-0 and you're chasing it already. So Swift Current coming in here as the top seed, they'll obviously want to negate that here and look for a win. But just looking at since December really, Swift Current has reeled off 11 of their past 13 games they've won, whereas Battleford coming in here today has only won once in their past 14 games. So two teams that have headed in absolute opposite directions. However, Battlefords does have a win over Swift Current in this exact building with Backman in net. She picked up a 3-2 victory for her team in that contest. So it's not that Battlefords can't win here. They've already done it this season. I know Swift Current's had the advantage in the series 4-1, and they've outscored them 16-4, but Battlefords has beaten Swift Current, and the two teams actually haven't played in 3 months today. So it'll be interesting to see how the two teams will square off here.
Absolutely. And the Wildcats also are a team that's not built on star power. There's not one player or two players to watch. They've got nobody in the top 5 of the league scoring, but 4 in the top 20, 7 in the top 40. This is a team that's built for depth. And oftentimes a team built with depth is a team that's built to have playoff success. And that's what they're going to look to do, take advantage of that depth against a Battleford team that doesn't have near as much offense. But I think they're going to have to get to the net and get in front of the eyes of goaltender Emma Backman.
Yeah, they'll have to, because that .923 with the amount of shots she's facing doesn't project to you scoring a ton of shots or a ton of goals unless you're putting up a ton of shots against her. Bigger goaltender can cover a lot and just really well positioned from last time I remember seeing her back here in November. So be interested to see. We'll pop on over to our interview quickly here with Terry Pavley, Wildcats head coach. Go ahead.
I apologize. We had a technical issue with the pregame interview. And David, you conducted it with Terry. Can you kind of sum up the coach's thoughts as we get ready for action here?
Yeah, he said they had a really good week plus of practice as they've geared up for this playoff series. He said he'll be interested to see how his team gets set for and looks in this game as there's only 4 players on the Wildcats roster that have experienced a playoff game, given that last year they only ended up playing 7 games in the regular season, and then the season was postponed, and the year before playoffs had started, and then that got canceled. So not a ton of experience on either team here, playoff-wise. He said as much as they wanted to game plan for the pressure that the Sharks will put on you at times, he said it comes down to us playing our game. And we know what that game is, and we've seen it a ton this year, Sean, and that's get in on the forecheck, continue on the forecheck, and just wear teams down in the offensive zone. The less time Swift Current spends in their own zone, the better for them, obviously. And they've done it to a T in the last 13 games, and that's why they've been winners of 11 of those.
As we listen into our national anthem. They have some awards to announce here. Three Wildcats will receive league awards. Erlinger named to the second All-Star team. Great season, 17 points from the blue line.
She'll be back with the Wildcats next year, too. No real surprise there, and Leonard been fantastic for Swift Current this year. 13-3 on the year.
And that's one of those awards. McName's second All-Star team, but more importantly, the top Scholastic player in the league. That's a real feather in her cap to show that she's able to balance her commitment to hockey and sport and her commitment to her education.
She'll get to do that next year in Calgary as well, attending Mount Royal University. So good to see her getting on the right foot, headed to that school next year.
Well, and it's such an underrated thing. You know, the amount of time and effort they put in to being high-level athletes, it's hard to focus as much on your education as you sometimes need to. And the fact that she was able to do that to that degree, I think is a wonderful representation of her commitment and her work ethic. In goal, you mentioned Lehner. We talked about the stats as we're underway for Backman. Lehner on the season, 13-3, 1.94 goals against average, .932 save percentage. So actually better numbers than Backman, but obviously doesn't face the same level of shots most nights.
Well, in the consistent barrage probably would obviously be a key factor there.
Wildcats on the attack in the early going here. Right into Battleford territory. Trying to dig that loose was Metzger. Here's McNinch. Moves it down to the corner. Centered. Comes all the way back to the line for Bacchus. She'll walk and shoot and turn it over on the block. Battleford's trying to get to it here. Nordal, and she fans on her shot. That's a good early opportunity for the Battlefords, as Nordal gets a clean shot block and gets that puck first.
Well, and that's maybe what Terry Pavley, the head coach of the Wildcats, was alluding to, the pressure. The pressure at the line created that right away off the shin pad and gone as the Sharks win the draw.
Trying to push that into the corner. There is Pelchinski. She's upended. Wildcats, basically their entire top six is in the top 40 of the league scoring. And here they come down the wing. Keller, she'll try and get a shot. And the stick came out of the hands of the Battleford defender on that shot attempt, but it ends up disrupting Keller. Coming up with it now for Swift. Thompson moves it to the corner for Watain. She's their leading scorer. Thompson trying to go back to Watain, who's got 20 goals on the season to lead the Wildcats. Among the better goal scorers in this league. That puck knocked just out to the neutral zone. And Watain trying to stop it on entry. That's going to be an offside call. I mean, offense hard to come by for the Battlefords, David. Their leading scorer, Pelchinski, at 13 points. And you have Hilpo with 12, Schneider and Cole with 11. I mean, they've got a little bit of depth at the top of that group. It's not one or two players carrying the load, but nobody who's reached even quite the half a point per game level. So they're just going to have to do it as a unit as the puck's dumped in and covered.
Their best chance might be playing a 1 or 2-1 game, a 1-0 or a 2-1 game.
Penalty coming here against the Wildcats, though, and off to the box is Appel. That's for contact, I believe, and here you go. If you're the Battlefords, you're talking about wanting to win a 1 or 1-0 or 2-1 game. Getting an early power play goal is a big way to do that.
Someone that can certainly help them is defenseman Ava Cole. She was spectacular last time here in Swift Current. Got a couple of assists on that weekend and set up some really nice plays there.
Oh, there's a steal by Watain. And she's forced off the puck. Good play there by Schneider, protecting her team while shorthand or all on the power play. Schneider gets center and dumps the puck in. Rubley's back for it. She's got Solweski right on top of her. Chance to clear. Kicked at the line. Oh, and overskated by McNinch, or she might have been away. That kind of hopped on her. Now Rubley sends it up the wall. At the line, held in by Cole, and that got forced out into the neutral zone. Watain, a good stick in the middle, deflects that puck out of play, and the Wildcats showing they can be dangerous while shorthanded, both Watain and McNinch threatening.
We saw that last time we were on the broadcast, too. Swift Current capitalized shorthanded, and they create a ton of odd man breaks the other way. Well-killing penalties, which is always something you want to be able to do as a team.
Quick shot off a face-off win for the Sharks, high and wide. Held in at the line by Wagner. Chance to clear Bacchus. Good second effort, and she will get that the length of the ice. 55 seconds to go, and Appel's penalty. That puck is zipped the length of the ice by the Sharks, and they're going to have an icing here against them while on the power play. Another 44 seconds of power play time left for the Battlefords on this first power play of the series.
You mentioned Wagner there. She's actually a Southwestern Saskatchewan product. She's from Fox Valley, and she's not the only one from the Southwest on the team. Brooklyn Siemens is from Swift Current.
That's one of the advantages and disadvantages of having a very good program that attracts a lot of quality talent sometimes there isn't as much room for all the locals when you're trying to build the best roster you can. I know the Wildcats make an extra effort to find space for locals that they feel fit the program, but sometimes there just isn't enough space. And the great thing about having a league like this, there's other places to jump on that opportunity as Schneider intercepts that clearing attempt. He'll take a shot to flex high. Battleford's maybe a younger team, a still developing team, so there's more room for some of those players to get that opportunity to play significant roles. As the puck's held in at the line. Deflects to the corner off Schneider's stick. Schneider gets it again. We're back to 5-on-5. Here's a chance and a right pad save by Keeler. And that's going to be cleared out by the Wildcats. That's the best chance in the early going there. And Leaner had to make a big-time save.
It was kind of a breakdown, and the puck just ended up in the high slot area, and it was a quick shot to the net. Leaner kicked out her right pad.
And there's an icing against Swift off a deflection by Price. But what you want to see if you're the Sharks, they get a power play, not a ton of chances, but they ham in the Wildcats a bit and get some momentum off of it.
Yeah, and they're the only team with shots so far. I mean, we're 5 minutes in, and Swift Current doesn't have a shot. So if you're Battleford, this is a perfect start. You come in, weather the storm in an environment that can be tough. It's a pretty packed crowd here today, and you get the power play first, and you get a couple of chances. And
here's a chance for the Wildcats. Skating with it, Perlinger. She'll dump that in. Our next break will go over the season series. We do have those numbers for you. Sharks start from their own end here. Still, as you mentioned, nothing on net yet for the Wildcats. Puck comes to Bouffard. She'll bank that ahead. Good deflection. Comes to Metzger. Centers it. Great chance. McNinch. Loose puck knocked away before she can get a good look. Point shot now. Hits McNinch at the side of the goal. She'll grab it, cut back out to the slot, and try to pass there for Swan. That doesn't quite connect. A great setup by Metzger to McNinch. It was just a little off, so she had to turn back for it.
It was kind of like a sticky puck situation almost, where the puck ended up just staying as she tried to grab it, but she wasn't able to. And then by the time she went back to corral it, it was a little too late.
Swan takes the pass from McNinch, but was double covered. Held in by Bouffard. McNinch again. Slides that to Swan. Cycle game here. Swan for McNinch. Tried to keep that in at the line, could not. And the Wildcats will have to reset. Might as well make a line change here, at least a partial one. Now off the bench, intercepted there by Appel. She's got Swan with her. Swan chopped at it. Now tries to steer that out front. McNinch will go to it on the wall as Swan changes. Back at the line. Held in for Swift by Jones. Appel's knocked off the puck. Sent up the wall. Bouffard holds it again. Trying to step up there was Wingert. And now the Sharks are able to clear. Backhand pass just into Swift Current territory. Bouffard gets it. Moves it to Rubley. 12:56 to go in the first. No score. Puck deflected out of the zone by Swift's Georgette. Into Shark territory. Comes around to the left half wall. Appel trying to chase it down on the forecheck. Turning away there is Norman. And she'll skate with it. Whacks that out to center. Rubley's there. Flicks that back ahead for Appel. She swings and misses on the dump in. Second try did get it in the zone. Georgette forechecking. Nearly stole that one away. Now Thompson puts pressure on. Hungry puck pursuit by the Wildcats as the puck rolls onto the goal, and Bachman will cover it up. 12:19 to go in the first. Still no score. Season series between these two teams, David. October 9th, 2-0 Wildcats. October 10th, 5-1 Wildcats. November 13th, 6-0 Wildcats. November 14th, Sharks won 3-2. December 5th, only a 1-0 win for the Wildcats. So there are a couple of close contests in that season series, especially as it went on. as that's an icing call.
Their exhibition game between each other at the start of the year was also really close. I believe it was a 1-0 or a 2-0 game. So,
well, out of the 5 games they played, 3 of them were decided by 2 or fewer goals. So this is not a series where we expect blowouts. There were a couple of lopsided scores, but that's not the majority of what we saw.
Have to remember half those games would have been against Backman and half of them wouldn't be as well. So not that Enns isn't a good goaltender in her own self, but the numbers tend to lean towards Backman.
Sure, when you have a goaltender who's going to U of S, I mean, it says something. As away they go. Puck's dumped in by Watain. Played right back up the wall. The Sharks have not given Swift a lot of extended zone time outside. One early shift and then that shift for the McNinch line a few moments ago. Puck fired in behind the Swift Current net. Bacchus moved that ahead. That was deflected by Urich, but couldn't get control of it. Now into Sharks territory. Turning with it is Cole. Nice move out to the neutral zone. Pull down the left wing. Broken up by Bacchus. Good play back ahead for Urich. Now Urich's into the zone on a 2-on-1. Urich with Kerwin. And Urich tries a shot. That's turned aside by Bachman. Not even sure if Urich saw Kerwin on the other side of her open.
No, it didn't look like it. She might have just been in too tight. Kind of.
Here's Swan, fresh off the bench, trying to get to it. Had it swiped away from her, though, by Morelli. And dumped into Swift Current territory. Who fired back for it. Works it over to Jones. 10:27 to go in the first. No score yet. Here's McNinch away. Down the left wing side. She'll steer that onto the Battleford goal. That's covered up and held with 10:18 to go in the first and no score.
McNinch was second on the team in points this year for Swift Current, but a bit of a backstory. She was once on Battleford for a pair of seasons before taking last year off from the league. But it wasn't like she missed much last year, obviously, with season end up being postponed.
Shot by Buffard, covered up. Well, for anyone from the Sharks that remembers playing with her, there's maybe a little extra motivation as she chose to take her talents to the Southwest.
Yeah, I believe there was a few. I believe Ava Cole was obviously one of them. Michaela Pilipau was another. So
a little extra motivation for them, sort of to say, you know, you could have done it with us. And then there's so many factors why someone makes a decision like that, but it just a little bit of bulletin board material maybe.
McNinch had a big year.
Here's McNinch in the slot. Oh, and her stick was hit as she tried to take that shot. Now it's stopped by Bachman, but not what it could have been.
Just back to my point there, McNinch had a pretty big year actually in Battleford that she eclipsed her goal total that 2 years ago compared to this year. This year she had 11 goals. Last year that she played with Battleford, she had 14. So certainly had some offense in her game a few years back for Battleford.
Well, I think probably on that team, they relied a little more heavily on her, whereas Swift is a team with a lot more balance. And I know we've talked to Terry Pavley, the coach of the Wildcats, before. He's sort of talked about how, for some reason, she was hitting all sorts of posts in the early going.
But then the back half of the season, it seemed like all she did was score goals. Yeah. So
loose puck. Oh, the Wildcats were looking for it to go behind the net and never did quite get there. It fooled Wingard as it's centered. Comes back to Cole. Scores! And the Sharks are on the board first. Ava Cole, a snipe from the left point as the Wildcats lost track of that puck in their own end. And it's 1-0 Battlefords.
It's a really good shot from Cole there. She was able to come down maybe to the top of the circle basically and wire that wrister up high on Lehner's glove hand. And Cole had 3 goals this season, but like I said before, she was really good when she was here against Swift Current earlier this year, and she's smooth skating, has a great first pass, She's actually will be one of 4 players on the ice today that are headed to Lakeland College next year. One of her teammates is headed alongside of her, and Paris Appel and Lakin Swan are the other 2 that'll be headed.
Well, and if you're a puck-moving defender, but your team doesn't have a whole pile of offense, that's going to affect your point totals. So from her standpoint, have a season with 11 points, it may not fully reflect what those numbers would look like on a team that had a little more scoring in general. A real nice play, good forecheck by the Sharks, who have got that lead. When you have a strong goaltender, an early lead in a playoff game can be all you need sometimes.
Just look at the Montreal Canadiens last year.
And there's been so many versions of that story.
The LA Kings going in as the 8th seed back on multiple years and somehow coming out with the cup.
All levels of hockey. And all it takes sometimes is a strong goaltender to start getting to another team's head, too. There's a great chance. Centered off a Wildcat Buffard in front and ends up at the side of the net.
Bit of a tricky play there as Lehner was kind of cutting across, expecting the pass to go across, and it hit a skate and trickled by her wide to the left side.
Good battle win there for the Sharks that steered across the zone and cleared out by Urich. Trying to dump that back in. There's a little shoving match between Urich and Greer Salbeda. And Salbeda.
She's getting the penalty.
Getting the penalty, or they both are? Yeah, it's going to be both.
Yeah.
5-on-5. Salbeda sort of looked at the official to say, hey, I was the attackee, not the attacker.
I guess it looks like the refs won't be letting go what we've seen recently in games here.
Well, you never know what you're going to get on playoff time. You know, it's interesting to see. I mean, the physicality level that they allow in women's hockey. What will be the line for contact, especially as you get into playoffs? As McNinch is away. Great rush by McNinch, drives the net! And it doesn't quite get there. They're covering the house pretty well. Back come the Sharks. Nice entry by Palczynski. Now Schneider follows up, drives the net! And Lehner makes the right pad save as that loose puck came to Schneider, and she had a clear path. Now followed up by Rubley, she'll clear. Bouncing puck. Swatted at by Metzger. Dumped in for Swift Current by Hansen, and they're making a partial change. Sharks able to clear it right back out. Stopped at the line by Georgette. Now dumped into Swift Current territory. Chasing it down. In behind the net, Perlinger. She passed that to Appel, who couldn't clear it. It's centered. Georgette will intercept. And gets skate out there by Georgette. Gains center and had her pocket picked by Nordal. Threw it back to the Swift Current line. Puck's lost there by Bacchus. Steered towards the net. And a stick save. 1-0 lead for the Sharks. 5:18 to go in the first. Here's Appel. Dumps it in on the Battlefords goal and chases it. Got to it herself, waiting for new line mates. As they're making a change, and Appel cuts out herself, tries a backhand, loose puck. Thompson jams away at it. Now another shot, missed the goal. High and wide off of Jersey with Tane stick. Good battle by Swift to keep that puck alive. Now a point attempt by Jones is blocked, but give Appel a lot of credit for making a play out of nothing there. Dumped in on Lehner. She can't control it. Sharks follow up, side of the net. Sent out front off Lehner's stick. And Buffard's away. Left wing pass. Matane couldn't get control of that one. We've got 4:28 to go in the first. 1-0 Sharks lead.
Swift Current's going to have to be careful, especially their defensemen. They're looking to get the puck to the net, and it's been blocked multiple times The Sharks have been headed the other way with odd man rushes multiple times.
There's a high stick called against the Sharks in their own zone. And there'll be a face-off deep in Battlefords territory. 4:17 to go in the first.
Shots are pretty even. 7 for Swift Current, 6 for Battlefords, who have had a great start here.
Sharks control the puck in their own zone. Try to clear it, hits a leg. Back to the corner. Swift trying to put some pressure on here. Keller dumps that behind the net. Lots of time, though, for Wagner. She'll make a move out in front of her own goal. Now skate. Wagner gains center and dumps it in. Back to get it is Hansen. She puts that up the wall. Keller can't clear. Wagner got in the way. Followed up, though, and Rubley got it out, and now the Wildcats are offside on their entry. Neutral zone draw coming. 3:37 to go in the first. And a 1-0 Battlefords lead.
Battlefords forwards play really high in their defensive zone, tight to the point, but then they also send 3 checkers almost in deep as well. So if Swift Current can maybe get the puck in between the forwards and the fence so they're not being pressured so much, they'll have a bit of time and space.
Good interception there by Metzger on the clearing attempt. Work down to the corner. Trying to put pressure on Hockley. McNinch and Swan on that forecheck. Now followed up by Metzger. Back to the line. Shot attempt by Bacchus. Hits a player high and got cleared. Perlinger gloved that down, then had it knocked off her stick. Here's Nordal. Backhands that in. Back to get it, Bacchus. Good pressure on her by Nordal. Now trying to get to it is Piplo. And back to help out Metzger, the captain. Up the wall for Swan. Swan goes cross ice. That'll hop over Metzger's stick into Battlefords territory. McNinch had that knocked away from her. And skating with it for the Sharks and dumping that puck deep is Labeda. Now Perlinger's on it for Swift. Starts the rush back up. And again, that pass just off the mark. As she tried to get that over to Metzger, but a penalty coming against the Battlefords for a hook. And for the first time in this hockey game, with 2:23 to go in the first, Swift down 1-0, goes to the power play.
Almost great timing for Swift Current to head onto this power play, see if they can get the game tied before they head to the locker room, because reeling a little bit.
And it's Slabeda going to the box.
Don't see that too often.
What's that?
Linesman outside of the zone blows the play dead on a puck drop.
Wildcats get control here. Buffard tries a slap shot. Blocked. Backhanded to Thompson in the corner. She tried to work that back down low to flex out front. Came to the wall. Buffard in after it. Moves that to Georgette. Georgette backhands it to Thompson. Works it to the line. Buffard. Rubley. One-timer! Got through and a pad save by Bachman. Good, hard, low shot by Rubley there. Back to Buffard. Over to Rubley again. She just swats at that one, deflects to the corner. Trying to cycle that down. Here's Thompson behind the net. Gets away from her. She's got to skate to it in the corner. Now Swan. Back to Rubley again. Shooting! She missed the net short side. Ripped up the wall. Buffard's there. 57 seconds left in the power play. Thompson threw it towards the front. There's Georgette. One of the Sharks lost her stick. Got it back. Now a shot. Covered up by Bachman. And the Wildcats, with 1:09 to go in the period and 46 seconds on the power play, will switch to their top unit here, down 1-0.
Looked like Swift Current was really trying to work the puck back to the point for Rubley. She had, I think, 3 chances. One she just ended up dumping in because the forward was crashing on her pressure-wise pretty quickly, but she had the one great chance.
Good battle there by Hilpo for the Sharks. She'll clear at the length of the ice. Down the stretch we come in the first. Final minute of play in the period as Perlinger's away. Cross ice feed deflects eventually now to Watain. She drops it off to McNinch, who is covered, but avoids the coverage. Rips that across, trying to get it to Metzger. That'll come to Metzger again. Good pressure by the Sharks right on the puck carrier, and away they come shorthanded now. A slap shot by Cole, caught and held by Lehner. Good pressure by the Sharks. Penalty kill. Wildcats down to 5 seconds of power play time and 27 in the period.
Really smart play by Cole to come in over the line, let a hard shot go, and make sure that Swift Current's goaltender, Lehner, had to cover the puck. And so there'll be an offensive zone face-off for the Sharks to kill the penalty.
And that'll do it. Both teams 0 for 1 on the power play. Keller gains center. Swift has not given up a power play goal against the Sharks as they turn it over here. In the season series, they did score 4 times on their own power play in those 5 games. Now a chance at the side of the goal. Worked out front. Bacchus breaks that up, and Keller will clear. And it's exactly how you write it up for the road team. Only allow 8 shots, maybe a pair of chances against. They get the first goal, put good pressure on the favorites, and have a 1-0 lead. You can't ask for a much better start if you're the Battlefords.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. I'm not really sure what you could ask for other than a lead. You didn't give up a ton. You killed a penalty pretty proficiently against a power play that can be deadly at times. So if you're Battlefords, you have to be happy with how that first period went. And you take a nice 1-0 lead to the dressing room here, and you only have 40 more minutes. See if you can hold on. Again, this is the kind of game they're going to want to play. They're going to want to keep it low scoring. So build a shell in front of your goaltender, who at times can be excellent, and kind of go from there. But
yeah, exactly how I write it up. It's a 1-0 Battlefords lead after 1. The Wildcats will head to the locker room to regroup and strategize for the second period and try to get a little more pressure on Bachman in the Sharks net. Sharks lead it 1-0. We'll take a break and come back with our first intermission. You're watching Swift Current Wildcats hockey on Amateur Sports TV.
At CM Engrave, we create more than just trophies, medals, and signs. We create time. Time for family. Time for growing your business. Time for the moments that make you, you. With more than 30 years experience for all your engraving needs. CM Engrave.
At Collins Hotel, we have you and your family's comfort in mind. Relax in one of our 16 suites featuring king or queen size beds and 36-inch TVs. Suites also include a mini fridge and other kitchen appliances to make your stay as comfortable as possible. During your stay in Pilot Mound, visit Weiser's Restaurant, our attached family-friendly restaurant and bar. It is the perfect location to host group meals, dine with the family, or unwind after a hockey game. Come in and meet our friendly staff offering daily specials on food and drinks, Wing Night Wednesdays, Buffet Fridays, and multiple TVs to watch the game. Weiser's is the place to be. Collins Hotel and Weiser's Restaurant and Bar, located across the street from Blackjack Stewart Arena off Highway 3 in Pilot Mound.
David Zammit back here at the Fairview West Arena in Swift Current in a game between the Swift Current Wildcats and the visiting Battlefords Sharks, game one of a first-round playoff series matchup. And I'm now joined by assistant coach of the Wildcats, Blake Voth. And I guess just first off, just give me your thoughts on how the first period went from your eyes.
Yeah, well, being down one, that's obviously not the way we wanted it to go. We got to get going a little bit, get skating a bit more, and kind of get our legs moving. Going into the game, we realized that we are a veteran team, but we only have 4 or 5 kids that have actually played a playoff game. So the first period could be a little bit of jitters and kind of getting our legs under us again, and hopefully we can get going here in the second period.
Now, I know one thing Terry Pavley has kind of honed in on a little bit from the Sharks is they play a lot of pressure hockey. They have 3 forwards high basically the entire time, whether it's in the D zone or the offensive zone. How do you get around that, and how do you exploit the space in between their forwards and defense?
Yeah, the main thing is just moving the puck quick. They're going to come hard on us, like you said, in the D zone and the O zone. I noticed that period, lots of our shots were getting blocked that our D were shooting, and that's because they're coming out quick, and we maybe don't have quite as much time to really look and load it up. We just got to get that puck off somewhere close to the net quick before they can get out. And same thing in our D zone. They're pressuring their D, always pinch on the walls, so our wingers got to be aware that you got to move that puck quick because they're going to come down on us every time as well too.
Both teams had a look on the power play and neither were able to convert. What did you see in your first power play there? Obviously your second unit got a few chances. Your first unit didn't get a ton, but they had a little bit shorter time there on the ice.
Yeah, and that's going to be the theme this series is pressure. They pressured us. Our unit that went out at the start of that power play did a really good job at moving the puck quick, and then you see opportunities. Our second unit probably didn't move it as quick, and then we saw that it ended up getting shot down most of the power play there.
Now, what are you going to need to do to beat a goaltender that's headed to the U of S next year? I mean, she's obviously headed there for a reason, so that makes maybe a bit of game planning on your end a bit tougher. Or?
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. Our game is we don't score a bunch of fancy tic-tac-toe goals and stuff like that. Like we gotta get traffic in front of her and put some rebounds in and make it tough on her too. If we're gonna stay to the outside and shoot the puck, well, we're not gonna score many goals this series. We got to get in those greasy areas and bang some in and make her job tough too.
What are you hoping to see here in the second period just from your team?
Just a little bit more jump, I'd say. We got to work harder than them. We kind of felt that period they outworked us and outskated us, and this is our rink, and we got home ice advantage, and you're never down in a series till you lose at home, so we got to make sure we come out with this one with a win.
Well, appreciate your time here, Blake, and good luck the rest of the way today.
Thank you.
That was assistant coach of the Wildcats, Blake Voth, joining me there for a recap kind of on the first and what he'd like to see from the team moving forward, and a couple of things that they want to correct as they head into the second period here. In a game they're down 1-0 to Battlefords. Battlefords capitalized on a point shot from Ava Cole, who ripped one high glove on Carly Lehner. Kind of a broken play. The puck got out to the point. Cole was able to walk down to about the top of the circle, wire a wrister high glove side over Lehner, who had some traffic in front of her, so wouldn't have been easy to see through and see the shot, and it was a perfectly placed shot by Cole too. So be interested to see, like Blake Vole said there, though, he wants to see a little bit more jump out of his team. They were at times a little flat-footed, at times maybe pressured and caught by the pressure of the Sharks, and especially the defense point shots. They just were not able to get the point shots through, as Battleford's played really tight to the point, and that's something that Swift Current's going to have to be aware of moving forward. They like to play that high-pressure game with three forwards across, whether it's in the D zone or the offensive zone. They need to exploit the middle ice of the area in between the forwards and the defense. We'll take another commercial break here, as we're about 5 minutes out from the start of the second period here in Swift Current.
At CM Engrave, we create more than just trophies, medals, and signs. We create time. Time for family. Time for growing your business. Time for the moments that make you, you. With more than 30 years experience for all your engraving needs. CM Engrave.
McNinch wins the draw back to Perlinger. Perlinger just wires it in. Kind of misses just behind Backman. Hockley back to get the puck for the Sharks. She reverses it, but Cole is hot on her heels, so Cole will have to head back, get the puck. She gets it out. It'll be Pilapow getting it up for the Sharks. Nordell in on the puck. That's cut off by Perlinger, though. Battle down for the puck in the far zone, and Sharks center it. Cole with a point shot, just misses wide. Nordell on the puck for the Sharks. Goes back to the point for Cole. Cole lets a hard wrister go. Misses the net. Nordell on the puck again. Nordell back to the point for Hockley. Hockley's shot is blocked by Metzger, but Swift Current turned the puck over after that. Metzger back on the puck. Backus now on it for Swift Current. A couple of players converging on her, Nordell. Back to Cole at the point. Cole just holds the line, sends it back down. Be Metzger for Swift Current cutting that off, and she'll go back to Perlinger, who will look to skate her way out of trouble. Finds Metzger, and Metzger makes a strong move to the center ice area, but nobody was really there to get the puck. Schneider will get the puck out for the Sharks, and the Sharks are headed back the other way. Bouffard looks to cut her off, but ends up puck turned over there as Sharks are back on it. Been a long shift here for most of Swift Current's group to start. McNinch on the puck, and she started. She's going to be looking to get a change here, you'd have to imagine. Be a breakaway here for Swift Current, though. It's going to be Paris Appel. Appel in and just misses. High glove side on Backman. Great chance there for Appel. Swift Current's going to look to get some offense going here. Bouffard sends it deep. Wingert in there on a board battle. Goes back to the point for Jones. Lets a point shot go and misses wide. Bouffard tries to send the puck to the net. Jones back into the neutral zone and just wires it back in. Backman out to play it. Wingert on her. Swift Current's able to keep it in. Amaya Jones sends a point shot wide. Wingert keeps the puck alive for Swift Current. Down into Watain, the leading scorer for the Wildcats. Back to the point. Watain tips it, takes a bit of a interesting direction to the front of the net, and Backman is able to grab that puck and hold on. Swift Current was able to get a couple of chances there, but they were not able to capitalize. Obviously, the first chance came with Paris Appel on a quick breakaway. Wired it just wide on Backman's glove hand. Thompson in a scrum draw there. Swift Current loses possession of it, and the puck slides out of the zone. Swift Current's quick to send it back in, though. Backman back behind her net to cut it off. Weber tries to get it out. Keller keeps it in for Swift Current. Tries to cycle it back down. Jersey Watain on the puck now. Watain back to Thompson, back to Keller, back to the point, but Hansen unable to hold the line for Swift Current. Keller comes back in the D zone to help out. Keller finds a nice outlet pass for Watain, but it was a bit in her feet. Swift Current isn't able to get the puck out as Hansen's there in a board battle. Great chance there for the Sharks. Lehner has to make a sharp blocker save.
That was a very good stop. And important here, when you're still trying to find offense early in a playoff series and you find yourself in a hole, you can't get down 2-0. That plays right into their advantage.
No, because then Battlefords can really go into the cocoon and shut you down offensively. Battleford's back to the point, lets the point shot go, and that's saved by Lehner again. Already 3 shots in the first 3.5 minutes for the Sharks here to start the second period, who are now leading on the shot clock 11-9 after 8-8 were the shots in the first period.
You have to think that was a big conversation point for the Wildcats in the intermission, was getting more pucks to the net.
Quality of them, too, is obviously going to be big for them.
Well, what would you say in terms of scoring chances? I think in the first, maybe they had a couple. And here's a good one, but the puck gets away as that was deflected out by Swan. Now followed up, skated into the zone by Perlinger. Swan trying to get to it, blocks the clearing attempt by Norman. And that hits off his stick.
Swift Current's best scoring chance in the game so far has been the Paris Appel breakaway, but as she got the puck, she shot it really quickly, so she didn't even really have time to set up, but she did let a good shot go that just missed high on Backman's glove side. So, but outside of that, in the first, they didn't have a ton of grade A scoring chances, Sean.
Not the other way either, but it was probably pretty even. As Metzger enters the zone, drops for Swan, slap shot right into a block And a good hard shot block by Cole, who's their goal scorer as well today. McNinch gets that across. Bouffard to drive right into the mitts of Emma Bachman, who'll hang on to it.
It's a great play by McNinch to find Bouffard on the far side of the ice where nobody was. So that was great setup there by Swift Current.
Face off inside the zone of the Sharks. Trying to force that in behind the net there for Swift was Price. She got knocked down. Dug free by Urich. Morelli on her. Comes behind the net, and Cole's got that. And Cole will move it out to the neutral zone. Pass right wing side escapes into Swift Current territory, and it'll end up being an icing call. 1-0 Battleford leading. 14:58 to go in the second period. Draw will be to the left of the Sharks goal. Thompson wins it. Held in by Hansen. Wildcats trying to forecheck here. That'll get out by Rubley and down into Swift Current territory. Knocked back to the Sharks line. Cole. Her pass broken up by Keller. Here's Keller trying to center it. Threw it towards the goal, hit off the blocker in front. Keller's got it again. Turns and shoots. Another shot blocked by Cole. And that'll get cleared out. Dumped into Swift Current territory. And a shot from the outside attempted there by Slabeda. On the wall, comes back to the line. Shot gets through! And a low save made by Kaler. And that was a really good opportunity. Harley Lehner had to readjust to a deflection. And a good forecheck here by the Sharks. Keller on the wall trying to force it out. And that'll be whistled dead on the wall. What an opportunity for the Battlefords. Just a point shot with traffic. Redirected on net. And a big-time save made by Lehner. She's been tested. The one that beat her was a beautiful shot by Ava Cole. And she's been tested just as much, if not more, as Bachman has on the other side. The Sharks have played a very strong road game here so far. The Swift wins the draw on their own end. Forced to turn back with it a bit. Berlinger trying to skate. Lost the puck. Sharks forechecked well, but the centering feed broken up. Now skated out of the zone by Perlinger. And she's away. Perlinger down the right wing side. Tried to bank that ahead for Wingert. Now throws it out front. Appel a backhand. That missed. Appel gets her own rebound. Wingert worked it back to the line. Over to the right point, a shot. Doesn't get through. Perlinger held it in just for a moment. But that's all. And now it got dumped back down the ice into Swift Current territory. Bacchus moves that to Perlinger. Tries to go cross ice. And Appel had to try to reach back for it. Hit off her stick back into the corner. Perlinger pressured again, lost the puck. Bacchus has it behind the net, sends it up the wall. That just gets out. Cole can't touch it, would have been offside. Into the zone for the Wildcats is Wingert. She got stopped. Good play defensively there by Hockley. And back on the Sharks. Worked into Swift Current territory, 1-0. Battleford's leading, 12:15 to go, second period. Away come the Wildcats. Long dump in wide of the net. Overskated there for Swift by Swan. McNinch got a piece of it. McNinch making moves at the line. Leaves it at the point. Bouffard to drive. Rebound is there, and it's covered up by Emma Bachman. As Bouffard got that one to the net. And it was a rebound opportunity Swift Current with the draw. Point shot by Jones is blocked. And it's swatted down into Wildcat territory. Jones on it. Up the wall now. Cleared out. Metzger trying to get to it. Followed up by McNinch. Offside is the call. 1-0 Sharks. 11:30 to go in the second period. And the longer it goes along, as the Wildcats struggle to find consistent pressure, the more you start to gain confidence as the underdog on the road here. As the puck's dumped in by Swift. With pressure there by Kerwin. Banks it off the back of the Battlefords net. Kerwin steers it towards the front. That got blocked. Good play defensively and cleared out by Philpott. And whistle dead in the neutral zone. Offside the call. Swan, McNinch, and Metzger come out for Swift now. And you wonder if Coach Pavley will start to shorten his bench a little bit for the 1-0 deficit. Not ideal when you have to play again tomorrow at just after 1 o'clock on the road. Here's a point shot. Swallowed up by Bachman and still hang on. And there'll be a face-off inside Sharks territory. Face-off won by the Battlefords. Good pressure by Swift, forcing a turnover. Metzger works it back to the line. Perlinger shooting. That misses the net. Ricochets out and cleared ahead. In the neutral zone, McNinch skates it in, got knocked down. She's back up, smacks the stick out of the hands of Schneider. Schneider has to try and go get it here. Puck is loose. Good pressure by Metzger. Knocked to a knee. She tried to put it back to the line. Bach is pinched, and it's put by her. And a chance the other way for the Sharks. Down the wing, a shot. As Morelli got it to the net, and a big-time save made by Lehner. And that'll be knocked to the line. Cole is there. Slap shot blocked. Swift trying to clear. Cole settles a bouncing puck and rips it back deep. She's got the lone goal of this game so far. Swift comes up with the puck again. And that'll be fired the length of the ice down into Shark territory. Down the ice it goes now the other way. And not enough for an icing. Jones is there. Cleared out by Buffard. Race for it into Shark territory. They'll get it to the wall. And back the other way. Down the right wing side is Morelli. Stopped at the line. Wildcats try to turn it back up ice. The pass from Thompson's behind Keller. Now here's Watane. Nice move. Makes the move towards the net, and she gets knocked down. A loose stick gets away. Right corner, Keller tried to center it. Got blocked. Thompson on it, deflected it. And that's cleared out for the Sharks. Slapped into Swift Current territory by Nordal, right onto Carly Lehner. Long pass up now to Appel. She'll go down the wing and lost it in her skates. Skating with it now is Winger, trying to drive the net. Good defensive play by Pilpo. Work to the line, and that gets away from Rubley. Up for Appel. He dumps that in. Georgette trying to hustle to it. Wingard got a piece at the line. Swift holds it in. That'll ricochet to the corner. 8:11 to go. Second period. 1-0 score in favor of the Sharks. Here's a drive by Rubley. Got blocked. Move that into the corner. Price digging for it, and she gets bodied down by Wagner. The puck cleared by the Sharks. Rubley dumped it back in. Swift regrouping. Price trying to forecheck. Pass ahead is banked by Siemens. Rubley blocked that. Trying to get towards the net there was Kerwin. Couple of loose sticks. And it's fed back ahead for Kerwin again. Down the left wing, Kerwin moves it behind the net. Urich has room, centers it! And McNinch is stopped. Wraparound try. And she can't find the handle on it as it deflects out to the neutral zone. Urich had a pass to the net as well. Now a turnover by Swift. In comes Schneider. Stopped by Carly Lehner. What a chance for Schneider there, as the Wildcats are putting pressure on at the other end. And turn it over in the neutral zone. And Lehner's got to be sharp. Great chance set up by Swift on the forecheck behind the net. And Urich had a chance to cut out herself. Saw McNinch going to the goal. Passed that off to her. And her shot was stopped. Short side. Pad save. Battle for the puck here in the corner. Wildcats are away. Up the center. There's Metzger. Nice move. Drives towards the net. Passed it off. Big time save. Made by Bachman on the one-timer. McNinch again. Tried to go back to the line. Fanned on her pass. Stays with it. Cycles it. But the only one behind the net is Cole. Cole pressured. Turns it over. Here's Metzger. Makes a nice move behind her back. Works it to the line for Jones. Into Metzger. Gets it back to the line for Bouffard. Steered it towards the goal, blocked. McNinch had the rebound bounce away from her. Puck comes across the other side. Metzger's there. She'll dump it back in. Behind the net, McNinch. Two players on her. Cole trying to pin her. In comes Swan. She digs for it. Now Swan cycled it, intercepted by Cole, and she'll skate with it for the Sharks. 5:57 to go, second period. Still a 1-0 lead for the Battlefords as it's dumped into the corner by Slabeda. Up the center, here comes Swift again. And one move too many there by Swan. She gets tripped, but no call on that as the puck will bounce to the Swift Current line and Swan goes off for a change. Skating with it for the Battlefords, Norman. Pass it into Swift Current territory, and that'll be backhanded to the corner by Pelchinski. Wildcats away now. Some room to skate. Get it to center, that's dumped in. Out of her net, Bachman. Steered it to the corner, Thompson's on it. For Keller, back to Thompson. Thompson pressured, forced off the puck. And it's cleared out by Mia Weber. Swift gets it back. Keller couldn't find it in her skates. In comes Thompson. Over to Wittain to the net! And Bachman makes the save on Jersey Wittain with 4:50 to go in the second period. And the Sharks still leading 1-0.
That's who you want having the puck in the slot as well if you're Swift Current. I mean, she led the team with 20 goals this past year, actually third in league goal total. So you couldn't really ask for much of a better chance there.
Point shot off a draw win by Swift. That's blocked. I mean, she didn't have a lot of room. A little bit point blank, but Bachman covered her off well. That's centered and a great chance for the Sharks. Peters, I think, took it as that's cleared out.
Game's really opened up compared to the first period here, Sean, in the second. Teams are starting to get better looks in tight.
Bilpo dumps it in. Battle for it in the corner. Here's another chance for the Sharks. And they're putting the pressure on. They're not sitting back.
That's what you got to do, right? You're only up a goal.
Now it's backhanded up and out of play. Yeah, it was Norman, I think, who got that look. And one way or another, after a couple of shifts where they really got hemmed in and pressured, it's good for the Battlefords to put the pressure on the other direction. And it doesn't look like a game where the two teams were separated by 39 points in the standings.
Yeah, if you just showed up to this game and started watching, you'd have no idea who was where in the standings. You'd think they'd be pretty close to each other.
I mean, I think you're seeing some examples of a little more skill on the Wildcats in general, but not to the degree. And here's Watane, races to the net and tries to go up high, short side. Just didn't have enough real estate there.
Almost a similar play to what she just had, but
point shot wide of the net by Perlinger,
where she was able to beat the defender wide and then try to cut back in, but she didn't have enough space to do it.
Here's Watane, 20 goals on the season. Working the outside, threw it out to Keller. She'll go back to the line. Shot by Bacchus. That one's blocked to the wall. Played to the line, held in by Keller again. Swift trying to keep the forecheck going. Appel coming off the bench. Chases after it on the wall. Appel steered it towards the front. That's intercepted. Cole clears it out. There's Perlinger. Backhand feed ahead for Georgette. She can't dump it deep. Morelli stripped the puck from her. 2:50 to go, second period. And the puck deflected out. The winger can't get to it. Here's Schneider now for the Sharks. Her team leading 1-0. Shots even at 16 apiece. Puck knocked away from Appel. Swift trying to pinch. Georgette's there. Knocks that back deep again. Appel. Centers. Great chance. Hit the goal post. Georgette, a point-blank opportunity. What a play there.
Like square off the post, too. Because it came right back into the slot area.
And away come the Wildcats. Down the wing. Into the zone is Bouffard. Solowski. Drop back behind the net. Swift's really starting to put some pressure on here, and the Wildcats trying to find that equalizer late in the second frame, and the Sharks will dump it back down the ice for an icing call with 1:28 to go in the second period. That's 1-0 still, Battleford.
Who got an early lead, and they haven't really sat back on it. Like you said, they've been also pushing the pace at times and getting their chances of their own, and only one shot behind Swift Current on the shot clock. Although Swift Current's best chance just came off a goal post.
They've had the better chances this period, certainly. As McNinch has got it. Over to Metzger. She'll go after it down low. Knocked away. And to the line. Rubley can't quite hold it. Down the stretch we come. Final minute in the second period. McNinch knocks it ahead and can't win the race to the puck, or she'd have had an odd opportunity. A 2-on-1 down low. As the bouncing puck comes out to center. 3-on-2 Wildcats if they hurry. Cross ice, here's Metzger. Too far to the outside, now gets free, centers it. Bachman got a stick on it before it got to Swan. Smart play by Emma Bachman. And there'll be a face-off in Sharks territory. 34.4 to go in the second period. Still 1-0 for the Battlefords.
Both the Sharks players that were back went over and converged on Metzger, who had the puck, and then ended up leaving Swan in front of the net. But Bachman was sharp and got her stick out to block it.
Point shot. Loose puck. Wildcats trying to bang away at it, and Bachman will cover it.
Kind of like a rugby scrum almost at the end there.
Just getting it to the net there was Perlinger, and that created a little bit of havoc.
Sharks aren't shy to block shots, though. I couldn't tell you how many they blocked here today, but blocked a ton of them. It seems like the Current's up at 20 shots.
Puck knocked to the line. Perlinger, a slap shot into the glove of Bachman. 22 seconds to go. Well, you're looking at a best of 5. If the Battlefords can find a way to win on the road in Game 1, then they're back in their own bed tonight. Host the game tomorrow. That's the path to an upset, no question about it.
Yeah, assistant coach in this first intermission, Blake Vos, said, you're not in trouble until you lose one at home, which Swift Current's 20 minutes away from it potentially happening.
7 seconds to go in the period. Puck comes to the wall. Perlinger thought of making a play and then turned it over, and we're heading to the intermission, and it's still a 1-0 lead for the Battlefords Sharks. And Swift didn't have a lot of pressure in the early going in this period, but you could start to see a little bit of desperation, a little bit of extra hunger for pucks as the second period went along, and they had some real good chances in the later stages of it. But now you go 2 periods without a goal, and you worry that your team's starting to question themselves. You know, and this is gut check time. You talked about playoffs. You know, nobody played playoffs last year. So,
and the year before, nobody really did either. They started a series and then it got stopped. So
they don't have experience in those types of games. And now you're going to find yourself mentally questioning everything going into the third, overthinking every play you make, overthinking every shot you take. And if you're Swift, you just got to get out of that mentality and get back to what's worked for you all season long.
Yeah, especially the back half of the season, they seemed like almost nobody could beat Swift Current. And I'm not really sure if they're in their head exactly at the moment, but I mean, when you have a goaltender at the other end, that's
I don't think that's been the same factor in this game. Like, it's not like you're out shooting a team 30-12 and the goaltender's standing on her head. She's made some good saves, but it's been a fairly evenly played game, I think.
No, I think so for sure. And Swift Current's chances, the one off the goalpost, could have went in. Powell's breakaway could have went in. Like, Swift's maybe had the better chances outside of obviously the Sharks' goal by Cole in the first period, but they're gonna have to do something to create more. And one thing I do find interesting is there's only been one power play for either side to this point.
Yeah, it's one power play each through 40 minutes of play. Well, it is a 1-0 lead for the Battlefords after 40 minutes of play, and we'll see how they handle carrying a lead into a playoff game in the third period too. How that team handles that pressure. It's a 1-0 Battleford lead after 2. Our second intermission coming up. You're watching Swift Current Innovation Credit Union Wildcats hockey on ASTV.
At Collins Hotel, we have you and your family's comfort in mind. Relax in one of our 16 suites featuring king or queen-size beds and 36-inch TVs. Suites also include a mini fridge and other kitchen appliances to make your stay as comfortable as possible. During your stay in Pilot Mound, visit Wiser's Restaurant, our attached family-friendly restaurant and bar. It is the perfect location to host group meals, dine with the family, or unwind after a hockey game. Come in and meet our friendly staff offering daily specials on food and drinks, wing night Wednesdays, buffet Fridays, and multiple TVs to watch the game. Wiser's is the place to be. Collins Hotel and Wiser's Restaurant and Bar, located across the street from Blackjack Stewart Arena off Highway 3 in Pilot Mound.
back live at the Fairview Arena in Swift Current. I'm Sean Nolan along with David Zammit. It is a 1-0 lead for the Battlefords Sharks. And Swift Current, the favorite, 39 points ahead in the standings, 14 more wins on the season, finding themselves in a real battle here. And I think they knew it's possible. You know, it's a Battlefords team that has a very strong goaltender, although she hasn't necessarily been the difference in this game. But it maybe makes you overthink what you're doing offensively sometimes when you know you have a real good goalie in net, and that's been a lot of focus of the conversation about the game. I don't know. But they had some real good chances as the period went along in that second frame. And I think if they play their game, they're going to win these games. But right now, the Battlefords, give them credit. We can focus on what Swift's doing. The Battlefords have come in here and played an excellent road game. They've really protected the front of their net, blocked a lot of shots, been puck hungry, been smart defensively, put some good forecheck pressure on. I mean, they've done a lot of good things.
I think it's been pressure throughout the 200-foot ice surface. I mean, the Sharks just have not given Swift Current a ton of time to really set up shop in the offensive zone. When they have, it's been cycling, but it's been to the outside. Like you said, they've protected the house really well, but they've just been forcing Swift Current to make a play or stay to the outside. And if you're not able to make the plays, then the chances from the outside against a goaltender like this, it's going to be tough to score. Now, Swift Current did have a couple chances in tight, but weren't able to convert. Obviously, the one off the post there, but Swift Current's going to have to find a way, whether it's on a power play or just to open up some ice. It almost seems like there's Sharks players right on the Swift Current player the entire time. It's almost like they're playing man-to-man, but then when they make a pass to try and find some open ice, it's very far and few between. And when the pass is made, it's almost like a reset of the defensive zone for the Sharks, where they're able to redeploy their troops to the other side of the ice and pressure over there. So it'll be interesting to see what Swift Current does in this third period to maybe create some space for themselves, because they obviously need a goal to do anything here, obviously tie it, or if they have any aspirations of winning this game, which is obviously a pivotal one, given that, you know, you're back in Battleford tomorrow. You don't want to be down 1-0. And
any game in the playoffs matters, right? There's no less important game, but you lose game one, you put yourself in a position of having to win 3 out of 4 games to win a best of 5, and do that with at least 2 of those on the road. So, you know, from a Swift Current perspective, it makes the job a lot tougher. I don't think you go home if you drop this game and go, oh, we're toast. And they won 4 out of 5 in the season series. They were decidedly the better team in the regular season, but so you know you can do that. But it just makes that job tougher, and it makes the job tougher mentally. I mean, for this group, as good as they are, who have not really had any significant playoff experience for most of that roster. If you lose 1-0 against a team that's trying to play for those types of scores, it can get into your head a little bit. So it would be really good for them. I mean, naturally, when you're down 1-0, but get their offense going a little bit and not grip the sticks as tight. That's what you worry about when the goals are not coming as fast and furious as you want in the playoffs. You worry about the impact that has on confidence, especially of younger players.
Yeah, and I've always wondered how much experience matters, but I think you have to obviously accept that it does matter at some parts.
Well, I mean, we're not seeing a team with a ton of experience on the other side.
Yeah, no, that's true.
But if you haven't been through these types of games before, you haven't been the favorite in a playoff series that's behind by a goal going into the third period, you don't have something to reach back into, you know, mentally and go, all right, I've been in this experience before. I've had this situation before. You know, it's all new. So when you're the favorite, that's a different story because you start to think, oh, we're supposed to win.
Yeah.
And
true.
if you're the Sharks, you're coming in, nobody expects them to win this series. They're up 1-0. They're feeling good.
Especially with like you said, just the differential in standings. Yeah. I mean, these two teams were not close really in the standings.
Right. So then you're feeling, after 2 periods of play, you don't have the same pressure Swift has going into this third period. Of course you want to win. And now you're starting to feel like, oh, we're close. We're close to getting one here.
Yeah.
But they don't have the pressure on them. They're not the team that's expected to win. And they're not the team that's expected to win on the road either. So it's an impressive start for the Sharks. And the officials are coming back out, so we'll take a quick break, come back with the third period on Amateur Sports TV. And we're ready for third period action. The Wildcats trail by 1 in game 1 of this best of 5. And we're off here in the third. Here is Bacchus. Moves that up. Deflected into Shark territory. All the pressure on Swift right now. But less than 20 minutes to play, game 1. And a game 2 slated for tomorrow afternoon in the Battlefords. And here comes Swan. Over to Metzger. Tried to drop it to McNinch, and that pass was behind her. And that looks like a play you see sometimes when you start to overthink things a bit. As that's dumped back ahead, here's Swan again. Drops to Metzger. She'll end up behind the net. Works it back to the line. Jones keeps that in. Steered to the right corner. Both teams trying to establish the attack in the early going of this third as it's dumped in by Schneider. And the Battlefords come away with it. On the wall. Making a play is Morelli. Cuts out to the slot and shoots. Rebound there. And a big stick lift by McNinch as Schneider had an opportunity on that rebound.
McNinch with a great chance there. She just misses wide.
Held in at the line, then skipped out. But that's a huge defensive play by McNinch as there was a rebound of a shot point blank, and McNinch lifted the stick of Schneider before Schneider was able to pounce on it. In the corner of the Sharks zone. Swift trying to keep the pressure on here. Bounces across. Keller got that puck to Watane, couldn't get a good shot. Thompson trying to get to it on the wall. Up the wall, Hansen keeps it in. Back behind the net, Watane. Forced off the puck. She stays with it, cycles it. Keller, penalty coming. Shot to the net by Watane and caught and held by Emma Backman. And we'll get a power play for the Swift Current Wildcats, only their second, as they trail this game 1-0.
Going to say it'll be interesting to see which line Terry Pavley sends out here, but he's going to keep Watane out for a while and use that top unit.
McNinch on the draw for Swift. We haven't seen the penalty come up on the board yet.
They had to get the culprit first, Sean.
It is Maddie Wagner in the sin bin. Swift, a power play. They're 4 for 21 in the season series. 0 for 1 in this game. Perlinger shooting, and the rebound deflects to the corner. McNinch gobbles it up. Cuts back out to the line. Steers it down low. Shot attempt by Metzger's. Blocked into the corner now with Tane. Back to the line. Perlinger, wrist shot. And the rebound is clear.
I'm not even sure how that shot actually got through, as Swift Current had 3 players in front of Backman there.
Metzger starting from behind her net. 1:19 to go in the power play. Just under 17 minutes to play in the third. Here's Perlinger. Left wing pass. And that one got away from Watane. Played to the line and steered down the ice by the Sharks, who've had an effective penalty kill in the first 3 minutes they've faced. Once in the first, now here halfway through their second and the third. McNinch stick handles her way into the corner. Stops behind the net. Needs some help. Puck worked up the wall. Bouffard off the bench. Has the puck down to Thompson. Thompson trying to dig for it. Wins that puck. Back to the line. Bouffard, Thompson. Couldn't cleanly handle it. Now throws it out front. Blocked. Bouffard's there. Her shot's blocked. Rubley's got it. She'll steer it wide of the net. Bounces. Swan got dumped. In from the point. Swift keeps that alive. Down to Swan. She deflects it. Thompson gets the return feed deflected away, and the Sharks will clear, and that'll do it. Not one single shot that got through for the Wildcats on their second power play of the game, as the Sharks do a great job protecting their house again. 1-0 Battlefords, 15-19 to go in the third. Puck ripped across the middle. Here's down the left wing side. That pass didn't quite get to Peters. Swift clears it out. Here's Urich. Makes a move past that off to Kerwin. Kerwin skates it into Shark territory. Into the corner. Price trying to follow that. Work down to Urich. Her pass broken up. Bacchus at the line, just keeps that in. Pass down to Urich, gets away from her. Perlinger pinches in. Swatted away, back up the boards. Price after it. Good forecheck shift here. Pass centered. Comes back. Perlinger, a wrist shot high. Rebound. Urich point blank, trying to bang it in. Urich again. Had it knocked away from her. Back to the line. There's Bacchus. Keeps it in. Price can't get a stick on it. Cole lost it. Backhand scored! Cole lost it behind the net. And it's Price tying the game. A fantastic shift for Swift Current's third line to come out after an unsuccessful power play and just outwork the defense, leading to a break at the side of the goal and a 1-1 game.
Ava Cole's been a big factor in both the goals here today. Obviously, she scored the one in the first, and then she was the one that ended up giving it over behind the net to Price, who just kind of beat Backman to the post there and tucked it in.
Now Swan trying to follow up on that goal. Back to the line. Bouffard a shot. Off a glove. Metzger falling, tried to center it, got broken up. And that's just massive when you're able to get a goal from your bottom six. Now a great chance. Rebound! Oh, a great rush for the Sharks by Slabeda. And Lehner was just able to knock it down with the glove. Swan follows up, wrists it well wide of the net. Rubley rushes over to the point, holds it in, steers that back to the other side. And that'll get knocked to the Swift Current line. Rubley lost the handle on it at center. Appel and Wingard follow up, and that's whistled dead. Well, and Georgette's normally on one of those bottom 6 units. And Swift sends out that line without Georgette. And just they go out and put pressure on down low. Win battles, force turnovers, keep things simple. As that's hammered towards the net. Rebound! Drifts wide.
Swift Current certainly getting their chances now.
That's a big message, though, for the skill players that Swift has. You know, the depth of this lineup is what tied this game up, and they did it by keeping things really simple and just putting their work boots on. Georgette deflects that. Knocked away from Wingert, got dumped in. Bacchus back for it. Over to Perlinger. It skipped away from her. She'll send it back the other way. Keller. Up ahead now for Thompson, who dumps it right in on the net. Backman steers it to the corner. Had that knocked away from Thompson, and here come the Sharks. Skating with it is Nordal. She'll dump it in. Good pressure. Good stick there from Pilpo. Swift got it to the line. Held in by Cole. Clearing attempt by Jones. Hits off the referee's skate. And the Wildcats had to be careful. Here comes Watane. She's got a step. Cole staying with her. Drop. Keller shooting. Big save by Backman. Rebound. Steered back to the net. And Backman sticks that to the corner. Watane again. Turns. Shoots. Slid through the crease by Thompson. And no one there for it for Swift. And the Sharks will clear. And not enough for an icing. 11:15 to go in the third period of game one. It's a 1-1 game. Jones up the middle, pass off the mark, didn't get to Price. She can't reach it. Followed up by Jones again. Skates it in and dumps it to the corner. Chased after down low by Kerwin. Price comes in. She's got the lone goal for Swift. Again, good forecheck here by Swift. Price, Urich, and Kerwin, the line that tied this game. To the line. Held in by Hansen, but not deep. Now the Sharks able to clear. Skating with it is Slabeda. She dumps it in. She'll chase herself. Rubley back for it. Oh, she swings and misses at that puck. Now gets it with the backhand. Up the wall for Urich, sorry. Urich clears that out. Kerwin will chase as the rest of her line heads off for a change. Sharks have control on their own end. 1-1 game. We've got 10 minutes to play in the third. Turnover. McNinch drives towards the net. Wrap around. Curls out. Gets it across to Hansen. She'll shoot. Redirected by Swan. Bounces wide. Swan trying to cut back out. Kept to the outside. Good D down low there by Solweski. Swift stays with it. Back to Rubley. One-timer and a big save by Backman. Staying with that puck, McNinch. Forced off it. Solweski tries to clear. Comes to the other side. Hansen pinches. Had a chip by her. And a good play to cover that up by Metzger. Now Rubley had her pass deflected. McNinch turns back for it. Finds it in her skates. And dumps it into Shark territory. And they'll head off for a line change. Metzger does forecheck for her group. Sends it back out to Perlinger. Shooting! Scores! Caitlin Perlinger! Far down again. It's a 2-1 Swift Current lead off great work by the captain down low to win that puck. And Perlinger sends it through a crowd as Swift Current's got their first lead.
Kind of like the first goal, just continually hard work, and that's obviously led there by the captain, Metzger, who went behind the net and sent it out to Perlinger, who was able to walk into one. And Swift Current's really tilted the ice here in the third period. They've got 9 shots already in the first 11 minutes.
Got away with one there, too. Wingert could have been called for a trip behind her net. As Perlinger's got it again. We've seen her goal scoring evolve as the season's gone along. There's a reason Perlinger's on the second All-Star team of this league. But her shot is a part of it. And the accuracy and strength of that shot has continued to improve as the season's gone along. She can't clear it there, though, to the net. Big save made by Lehner, and the rebound knocked away. A diving attempt to hold that in for the Sharks is successful. Grabbing it on the other side, Peters throws it out front, and that's covered up by Carly Lehner. And the Sharks are not going away. An aggressive shift there for the Battlefords, who find themselves in a hole for the first time in this game. And they're going to have to come out with some desperation with 8:10 to play.
Really good pushback shift by the Sharks there. They got multiple chances there on Lehner, who had to be sharp to hold Swift Current's lead.
Deflected out by Keller. Retain trying to get to it. Bouncing puck. Keller follows it up. The Gold Lake product drops. Thompson shoots! And Backman swallows that up. Good save as Swift was buzzing around the net. And there'll be a face-off deep in Shark territory. You mentioned the shots. They're now 31-19 in Swift's favor. They were 16 apiece. Or actually 18-16, I think, coming into this.
20, but still, it's...
Yeah. So it's certainly been a desperate puck-hungry Wildcats team that's come into this third period. And really only the last 6-7 minutes, their power play didn't get anything to the net. It was still only stuck at 21.
Yeah, even the first couple minutes, I guess, of the period, right? You throw that aside.
And then it was a game changer of a shift by Kerwin, Urich, and Price. If they had a hard hat award at the end of the game, you'd put it on the three of them.
Terry,
if Apple Auto Glass was still a thing, it would be the Apple Auto Glass turning point.
Pavley might have to go out and buy some construction hats after the game.
Here's a chance for Schneider. Puts it into the corner. Grabbing that one now is Bouffard. Up the middle, Price. Followed up by Watine, and she is offside. 7:08 to go in the third period. 2-1. The Swift Current Wildcats leading the Battlefords Sharks. Battleford in the corner. Sharks have it. To center ice, it's dumped in. Trying to chase that one was Hockley, and Swift turned it the other way. Past the flex. And broken up at the line. Cole tried to fire that in, got blocked. McNinch trying to chase her down. Cole falling, passed it across and got the clear. And the Wildcats steal it away again. McNinch, wrister! And Cole blocked that, but that hurt. Sharks have really gotten in the way of pucks in this game. No fear of getting in the lane. As Rubley gets center and she'll dump it in. Cole, after taking that shot off the shin or ankle, goes after it. Chops at the puck. They can't clear. Worked back down low by the Wildcats. Price in after it. Squirts away from her. And away come the Battlefords. Cole gains the line. Had her shot blocked. Good stick by Kerwin. And it's offside. 5:46 to go in the third. That's a good determined shift by Cole. Takes a hard shot low on the block. Stays out there, makes a good play defensively, and then rushes the puck the other way.
She's certainly been an X factor for them offensively and defensively today. Perhaps their best skater on the ice outside of their goaltender. especially skill-wise. You can definitely see some skill in her game.
Clearing attempt goes off a high stick there, but they let that go. Good block by Kerwin. Chases after it. Puck in the corner of the Shark zone. They have some time. Wagner, she'll skate. Gains center ice and flicks that deep. Back up Perlinger. Tried to skate it out and got knocked back into her zone. Perlinger's got the current go-ahead goal. Georgette banks it ahead. Deflects into Battleford territory. And Backman's just going to cover that up. 4:45 to go in the third period of game one. And Swift down 1-0 for most of this game. Tied it up and grabbed the lead here in the third and have a chance to close it out. With 4:45 to go. Here's a shot by Jones. Deflects off a block. Watane chopped it towards the goal. Oh, she rings that off the post. My goodness, you can hear that all the way downtown. Centered. Keller. Stopped by Backman, who lost her stick and still able to fight for it. Swift Current's leading goal scorer pinged that off the inside of the post. Hit so hard it shook the lone tree.
Been a couple. That's Swift Current's second, I guess. They had one late in the second period and one late here in the third period where they've rang one off the pipe.
And that could have been it. That could have been curtains for the Sharks in this game. Instead, they're still alive, but Swift putting the pressure on. Metzger made a great play to set up the go-ahead goal. Finally lost possession behind the net there. It's worked up the wall. Backhand try to clear it by Peters is blocked. Comes in behind the net again. There's Cole. How soon do the Sharks think of pulling Backman? 3:50 to play. We've seen a position on that evolve throughout hockey. Depends on your perspective. Some coaches, even in a one-goal game, will do it as early as 3-4 minutes left. And away come the Sharks. Down a goal. Dumped in wide of the net. That gave a little bit of trouble there as Peter sent that towards the goal. Back the other way, Metzger tried to feed that to Keller, deflected into the corner. McNinch follows up. Battle on the wall in behind the Sharks net. There's McNinch, the former Shark, centers it. And it's broken up by Nordal. And cleared to center. Skated into Swift Current territory. Nice move towards the net. Backhand try. Rebound. 2 saves made by Lehner on Greer Slabeda. At the line. Good shot block there by Watane. She doesn't just score goals. 2:39 to go in the third. Perlinger turns back in her own end. Gets that across to Bacchus. She'll bank that out to the neutral zone. Thompson. Followed up now by Watane. And she's stopped at the line. Here's McNinch now. 2:19 to go in the third. Swift up 1. McNinch fights that puck into Battleford territory. Pressure on her. Back to the line. Rubley's got it. Shoots it. Stick saved by Backman. Wrap it around with the rebound now. Played back to the line by Metzger. A shot from the point. Scored! Bouffard with the dagger. It pinballed around. It found its way in. The Wildcats lead 3-1 with 1:57 to play. What's that about point shots? My goodness.
Apparently they get through eventually. Swift Current is really taking this game over here in the third period, and this has been a lot more like the Swift Current team we've seen throughout the season, Sean.
you're going to come into a playoff series, you know, a little bit tentative sometimes. Feel the game out a little bit. You don't quite know what it's going to be. You don't know what they're going to throw at you yet. You get a little tentative. You get a little bit of nerves. And it was that shift by Kerwin, Urich, and Price that completely changed the complexion of this hockey game. Pull. Slap shot. Deflects wide. Doesn't look like the Sharks are going to pull their netminder. Down 2 here with 1:30 to play. As that's chopped out by the captain, Ava Metzger.
I'm honestly not sure why you wouldn't. It's not like you're playing a goal differential game here. You're playing to win.
Back into the Swift Current, or the Battleford zone. Metzger slaps it from a tough angle. Worked it back to the line for Perlinger. She just keeps it in. Keller's got it. Forced off the puck. Good forecheck there by Swift, and down the stretch we come. Wingert centers. Woodtain rips it, and Backman makes the save.
Really good work.
51.5 to go in the third. 3-1 Swift.
Really good work there by Wingert. Get through a couple of bodies with the puck, and then feed it into the slot area for Woodtain to walk into one. And Swift Current now has 17 shots in this period. Almost their total for the first 2 periods.
Loose puck again, and Woodtain stopped by Backman. It's a different Wildcats team from the point that Price scored that goal. 17 of those shots have come in the last 14 and a half minutes as the icing's called against the Wildcats. They've almost doubled their shot count from the rest of the game. And now they're pulling Backman. 25.4 to go. Now the 6-on-5 coming. They're going to have to score basically instantly off this faceoff. Philpo wins the draw. Nice job. Centered towards the net. And a good defensive play by Thompson. Point shot. Doesn't get through as Hockley had a look. Hockley's got it again. She'll wrist it to the net. And that one gobbled up by Carly Lehner, who's made 21 saves in this game, David, and a couple of really big ones when it was a 1-0 lead for the Sharks. Some point-blank chances, some big, low saves by Lehner kept this one within striking distance.
Well, and the goals she gave up, I'm not even sure she saw it. It was a point shot with multiple bodies in front of her.
Chopped towards that again and caught.
She saw that one.
Yeah. But there were some big chances around the net. A couple of tough redirections. Puxie had to be real strong around the pad area. And she made it so that the hole didn't get any bigger. As the seconds tick off the clock, and the Swift Current Wildcats storm ahead in the third period on the strength of a shift from the bottom 6 of their group, a goal from Price that completely changed the momentum and complexion of this game. The depth of the Wildcats on display, as it was that line and that goal that inspired the turn of events that led the Wildcats to a 3-1 victory in Game 1 of this best-of-5.
That's big. To turn that around, last thing you would have wanted was to head back to Battleford down 1-0 in the series for an early game tomorrow.
Yep.
I guess one thing that'll be interesting to see is, and I'd have to imagine Swift Current's going to go to Aurora Van Warmer tomorrow with the quick turnaround. I know Terry Pavley said before the game he wants to get both of them some action in the playoffs. He said especially if they're going to go on a long playoff run, he doesn't want to have to call on another goaltender sitting there for multiple weeks that hasn't touched a puck in game action.
Oh, we'll see what happens. I mean, it's only the second game of the weekend, and quite often you'll see a goaltender at this level play 2 in quick succession. So it's certainly not that Lehner couldn't play, but it'll be interesting to see what decision they make from a goaltending perspective. nevertheless, I mean, if you're Swift, you're happy with the way you turned this game around and found a way to get the win. Dug deep in the third period, good goaltending. Your depth got it done. If you're the Battlefords, well, it stings to have had the lead as long as they did and to walk away without anything to show for it. I think going into a home game tomorrow, you're going to say to yourselves, they proved they can compete in this series. They had a lead for 45 minutes of this hockey game. They limited the Wildcats to almost, 3, 4, 5 good scoring chances up to that point in the game. So now they're going home. They're going to have last change. And for them, it should be with some additional confidence that this series could be closer than many expected it to be.
Yeah, and they were in the game, too. They didn't just hold the lead. They were right there with Swift Current for about 45 minutes.
Right.
Were able to pick it back up for the last couple of minutes, but the game was kind of out of hand at that point and chasing it a bit. They got some sustained pressure at the end and a couple of chances, but like you said, not only can they hang, they held the lead. So,
yeah, they were 15 minutes away from taking a lead in this series, and it wasn't a fluke. They were playing right there with the favorites, and I think if you're the coaching staff, or you're the players, and you're heading back to your home rink tomorrow, for them that's something they have to build on. That's something they can use for confidence going into that game tomorrow. The Wildcats, obviously, they want to do more of the same of the last 15 minutes. Keep that pressure on and get pucks to the net. Because you face a good goaltender like Backman, if you only shoot 16 times, 18 times, or whatever it was after two, you're going to be hard-pressed to score. But if they can get 40, 45 shots with traffic, they're going to get their share of goals. So that shooting mentality that Swift found in the third period, that hard work mentality in the offensive zone, it's what they're going to have to carry into the game tomorrow. Plus, you're going to have two tired teams traveling. So it's another game you're going to want to really keep simple. Because you just played tonight, got to play tomorrow afternoon.
And then you got game 3 back here Wednesday. Yeah. So it's
if you're Swift, you lean on the fact you have the depth you have. And it's 3-4 lines tomorrow afternoon to try to keep your legs fresh. Nevertheless, the Wildcats avoid dropping game 1 at home despite trailing 1-0 after 2. They storm back with 3 in the third. An equalizer by Sidney Price. The go-ahead goal off the stick of second All-Star defender Caitlin Perlinger. And a 21-save performance in goal by Carly Lehner. It's a 3-1 win for the Wildcats in Game 1. Game 2 tomorrow afternoon in the Battlefords. And then we'll have Game 3 for you. If Swift wins tomorrow, a chance to close the series out Wednesday. If the Sharks win tomorrow, it'll be an absolute huge contest on Wednesday, deciding the direction this series will go. And we'll have it for you about 10 minutes before 8 o'clock Wednesday evening here from the Fairview Arena on ASTV. Any final thoughts, David?
No, other than just surprised at how Swift Current was able to turn around what looked like they were having a tough time. I guess I shouldn't be overly surprised because we saw them do it just a week or so ago against Saskatchewan, or I guess it would be 2 weeks ago now, against Saskatchewan right here in this building. They were down and what appeared to be out. They weren't struggling offensively in that game, though. They were struggling a bit defensively, which isn't something you see much of from this team. But the defense, goaltending was fine here. It was, where'd the offense go? But then the offense appeared, like you said, just because Sidney Price got it started, and it kind of took off from there. It turned into an onslaught for about 10 minutes there, with Swift Current just opening it up and continued pressure and goals coming about from that.
And a 3-1 Game 1 win for the Wildcats. But I think the final message you get out of this Game 1, we have a real series here. This is going to be a battle. And if anyone thought this was going to come easy, they learned very different today that it won't. Game 1 goes to the home team. We'll talk to you Wednesday for Game 3. For David Zammit and our crew back at ASTV Studios, I'm Sean Mullen. You've been watching Swift Current Innovation Credit Union Wildcat Hockey on Amateur Sports TV.